Well, today everybody, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all my favorite trick on how to understand arpeggios and write metal riffs. Let's get into it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. My name's Stay Metal Ray. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to come hang out with me, learn some stuff, and just talk all things guitar today. So yeah, dude, we're going to be talking about arpeggios and how to write riffs, all right? Now, arpeggios and the word arpeggio is such a buzzword in the guitar, realm of like learning and practicing and writing and all the above. So today in this video, I'm going to break it down on what arpeggios not only are by book definition, but how to think about arpeggios and riff writing, because generally speaking, more often than not, arpeggios kind of deal with lead playing and like super fast sweep picking and all that stuff. It doesn't always have to be that complex or that, widdly. We can use arpeggios to write riffs and come up with some cool ideas, okay? Before we get into the actual content of today's video, I just want to say if you're interested in doing private lessons with me, you can send me an email at staymetalray@gmail.com. I love teaching you guys privately one-on-one. For those of you who have signed up, you guys are awesome, and I love, as somebody who's just going on this journey with you guys, I love being able to help out and see the light bulbs go off whenever I'm teaching and just explaining things in my own kind of, unique way. So if you're interested in doing lessons with me, send me an email and we'll go from there, okay? Thank you so much in advance. And with that being said, let's talk about arpeggios. So, book definition, what is an arpeggio? Well, an arpeggio is taking the components of a chord and playing them in succession, either ascending or descending, okay? For the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about 3 different chords and or triads. They're kind of interchangeable. I'll break them both down, okay? So, we're going to be talking about major chords, minor chords, and diminished chords, okay? Now, major chords, minor chords, and diminished chords are comprised of 3 different elements, okay? A root of some sort, a third of some sort, and a fifth, okay? A major chord has a root, major third, perfect fifth, minor chord, root, minor third, perfect fifth, and diminished, root, minor third, flat fifth, or tritone. Tritone and flat fifth are interchangeable, and tritones are just gnarly sounding. So how today's video is going to work is, first I'm going to show you guys not only my favorite practice technique with arpeggios, but I also view it as an incredible creative writing tool, and using arpeggios as the backbone to write the riffs, hence the topic of this video. And then I'm going to put myself on the spot and I'm going to be creative in my own way. I'm going to change up my setup and I'm going to create a riff in a more metal context and show you guys how I'm taking standard tune guitar theory and applying it to down tune guitar theory and using arpeggios to write a riff. Okay? Cool. So I'm going to be teaching this lesson first in G major, okay? Now, talking about the chord itself, a G major chord is comprised of 3 things and or 3 notes. A G, a B natural, and a D natural. GBD. That is the root, the major third, and the perfect fifth of a G major chord. Now, bedroom chord players, and the chords that we first start learning when we're playing, that's a plain old G major. That chord's like the beginning of whatever that song is. Anyway, not the most metal thing in the world, and that's my point, because metal players don't really play like, the D majors, the A minors, the C majors, the G majors, the F majors, etc. Like, we don't really play metal music with these chords, but that doesn't mean we can't take those principles and elements and ideals and apply them to the genre of music that we like, that is hard rock and metal, okay? Breaking down this chord real quick, this G major chord is comprised of only 3 elements. This blew me away when I was first learning. There's 6 strings ringing out here, but there's only 3 notes. Check it out, right? G, B, D, G, D, and G. But like I said, that's not metal. All right, let's turn it up a notch. Let's start creating some metal, some rock. So, since we only have a G, a B, and a D, we can find a G, a B, and a D on our fretboard and make some cool, noise with it, for lack of a better description. So, cranking it up here, here's a G note, here's a B, here's a D. On paper, that is no different than a G chord. Like, it's still in the same ballpark, and it's the same components, just played in a different way. This is now playing the individual components of the G chord, played in succession in ascending fashion right here. And that, right there, is an arpeggio. I am arpeggiating G major, a G major chord, by doing this. I mean, arpeggiating, I'll turn down my distortion right here, but arpeggiating this chord right here would be something like this. You know, plucking out the individual elements of the chord. Like I said, we're metal players, we're writing riffs. This video is about my favorite trick on how to write metal riffs with arpeggios. Now we're kind of in the vein of like, all right, this kind of cool cascading cycle of notes there. It's like starting to sound a little bit like a riff, you know what I mean? Now, this is where it becomes fun. So for this exercise, we're going to be sticking with major keys, okay? There's two keys, majors and minors. We're going to be sticking with G major right here. In every major key, not just G major, but in every major key, the chords behind the scenes, we'll say, the chords that go along coinciding with the chord, or with the key signature, pardon me, are 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished. So the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord are the major chords, the 2, the 3, the 6 are the minor chords, and the 7th chord is the diminished. Now this concept follows the actual scale of G major. So the scale of G major is G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Now each one of those notes gets a chord that represents that note as well. So the chords of G major are G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp, diminished. Say that again. G major, 1 major, 2 minor, A minor, 3 minor, B minor, 4 major, C major, 5 D major, 6 E minor, 7 diminished, F sharp diminished. Taking this concept of this first pattern that I played right here, the GBD cascading doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the arpeggios of all the chords in G major up the fretboard. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminished. Listen to that one, it's kind of gnarly sound. A lot of dissonance and a lot of tension there, and then it gets resolved back to the 1. Now we're an octave above our starting point. I'm gonna play a little bit faster here, just to kind of just show you guys and let you guys hear what I'm doing here. So what I just did there is I just labeled all of the right notes or the good notes that will fit in the key that I'm outlining, and I'm using the 2 lowest strings, E and A string, because as metal players, as hard rock players, we always live on these strings, right? That's our bread and butter. Like that's where we create the magic. That's where we create the chugs, the heaviness, and all that stuff, right? So before I switch gears and change my tuning, I'm going to use my handy dandy Digitech drop pedal to down tune it here and write some riffs. I want to show you the exercise itself, where it teaches not only myself, but teaches you guys an insane amount of dexterity, but also a lot of music theory, because I'm ascending up the scale by arpeggiating the scale and arpeggiating the chords. And listen, it should, I hope, it should like make sense, and you should be able to anticipate it, the next move with your ears. It should like, you should be anticipating what's about to happen before it happens. And when I get there, you'll be like, oh yeah, like that makes sense, that sounds correct. I'm just gonna play it and maybe that'll make more sense. So be honest with yourself and be honest with me. Did you like kind of anticipate where it was going? Did you like already hear the next step before I got there? I hope you did. And I certainly do. And the reason is because these rules, 1, 4, 5 major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7 diminished, they're so subconsciously ingrained in our brains as, you know, fans of music who listen to music all the time. These rules are instilled in all music, you know, I shouldn't say all, most contemporary like pop and or rock music, radio rock, stuff like that. So these rules are always in our lives, just in the background. We don't even really know what's going on. We just know, like, yeah, that's going to sound correct. That sounds right. That sounds like it makes sense, because I'm following the rules of music theory and I'm arpeggiating all of the chords in G major. So not only, like I said, is this a great dexterity tool and a great economy picking type of idea here, but also too, it's labeling the theory behind it, and it's showing me all the notes I can use in G major. So now what I want to do is I already recorded it. I'm going to do a jump cut and show you guys a cool little riff. I tuned this guitar down with the drop pedal all the way down to D standard, just a whole step, you know, some like Motley Crue sound and stuff right there. But I want to show you guys how like I wrote a riff in G major using this as like my starting note. It's not in G major now, it's actually in F major. But the point is, when you down tune, you can still follow the principles and the ideas of standard tuning. It's just now you're a lower tuning, all right? So check this out. So everybody, I hope all this made sense. I hope you learned something. I love this scale and I love this drill. And it's just like my favorite trick to like show myself and show you guys like, hey, these are the notes. Like if you ascend and arpeggiate the chords and turn it into riffs and not necessarily focus on like the bedroom chords that we learned when we were kids, or, you know, however, you know, whether you're a kid or I'm forever a kid, you know what I mean? Like whether you're 6 years old or 60, and it doesn't matter. When you first start learning playing guitar, these are kind of the first things you learn, right? This first position right here, where you can take these ideals and these principles with these chords that aren't metal, and you can start to apply them and start to learn about key signatures and stuff like that, and arpeggiate them and create riffs and individual notes, pick apart the chords and make cool riffs, all right? So everybody, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed hanging out with me. Hope you learned something. And like I said, man, if you guys wanna take lessons with me, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you guys. Spots are filling up quick, man. So if you guys want to get on board, I'd really appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you, okay? But if not, with that being said, I just appreciate you guys just hanging out with me and just jamming and talking all things guitar with me, okay? So that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay metal. I'll see you guys next time. Later.